Hello and welcome, I'm Kate Scribner, and today I am wearing yellow and willing sunshine into our lives by Springtime. I'm also doing a spring book tag, and I'm very excited that even though we're in a pandemic, we can hopefully have brightness through our windows. So, this is a spring book tag, and I'm going to start right off with it, and it is a question about what are we most excited about reading in the next few months. So, I've had this weird draw to literary fiction and contemporary and historical fiction adult books, which has never really been my draw whatsoever. Historical fiction way back in the day, but other than that, it's been about 10 years. So I'm excited to kind of endeavor and learn about this genre. I do change my reading taste. That is something that is crazy over the last 3 years of me being on BookTube. What I would have said that I liked then versus what I like now is kind of uncomparable. And I think that that's the beauty of learning to allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to develop, and never really say never about genres. So this is exciting. I've also had more of a draw to nonfiction as well as classics, so I'm hoping to definitely get back on those bandwagons as well. So question number 2 is books that make you feel spring. My first thought was Jane Austen, and then followed by second by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Those, I don't know, they just have beautiful time periods, beautiful nature, as well as just, I don't know, they just seem happy and springful. And then I also thought of, related to them, Elizabeth and Her German Garden, and this is by Elizabeth von Erdem, and it's autofiction that deals with her story of, I don't know, just being this woman who is young, who has children and a husband during the late 1890s, and her way of like this quiet feminism and just wanting to kind of get away to the country where she's able to live a more simpler life, where she doesn't have to deal with all the stresses around her. And I think that is very relatable. And also, I don't know, it's this quiet book that just feels like it almost has the quiet mythology of Lucy Maud Montgomery, where everything of nature just feels like so real and whimsical. And then there's also just some funniness and wit to do with feminism and the discussion of women writers, and like how that is absurd despite the fact that the book is written by a woman. And I don't know, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and yet it does have a lot of themes and beauty. Question number 3 has to do with the longest book you have ever read, because the longer days happen in spring. The issue here is the fact that it's very difficult to like search Goodreads for longest books. Please update your systems, update your searching things, give us back to where we are able to have a list of the authors and how many books we read by them, because that was lovely. However, I'm just going to go by the longest book that I read in 2019. No, we're in 2020. I'm really bad at that still. And this is The Institute by Stephen King. And this is an interesting book. It is horror and science fiction. And I never thought I would really get into horror, but I did, because I really enjoy exploring the themes and humanity and just a lot of that, to the extent that especially Stephen King is very good at doing. I don't like horror for jump scares or spookiness, but for really the exploration, I guess, of really like science fiction ideas and psychology of that. So this was amazing, and I really enjoyed it. It was pretty much flawless in the expectation of this and its critique of modern times. The only really complaints I saw was people being like, Stephen King isn't Stephen King from 20 years ago. Well, grow up. And second was, it was really depressing, which is true. It is very depressing, but so is kind of the world right now. And I think that rather than my way, I think that's why I'm struggling with less with escapism, that when I feel a lot of emotions, I like to gravitate toward those feelings rather than gravitating away from them. And kind of, I think by embracing things, for me at least, helps me kind of feel more grounded, I guess. So anyways, if you're one of the people like me and you want to pick up something that feels very relevant to the time period, not pandemics, but to the political climate, I think would be really interesting way to do this. And then we have 4, a book that recommends that will make someone's day brighter, kind of the opposite. So this one was Howl's Moving Castle. This is by Diana Wynne Jones, and I read it very recently, and it is whimsical. Like every inch of it just breathes magic, and I think that it could be really fun for any age. It is like kind of more middle grade, young adult, but it kind of does defy really age group, because there was been a time before age groups were really solidified too as well. So I think, I don't know, it's just a beautiful story. Number 5 is a book that you wish existed, which is a hard thing as a writer. Pretty much books that I wish exist are books that I'm writing, so I am not printing them yet, so I'm not going to tell you. That's totally a cop-out. But we're going to move on to question number 6, which is, how has your reading tastes expanded? So this is kind of talking about, spring is about growth, so we have growth. And I said, like, I'm pretty much unrecognizable in my reading taste from I am 3 years ago. And yeah, I think in the main ways I could go over every little thing. In my video, Books That Define My Decade, I kind of go over the books that changed things and kind of made me believe that I could read different genres, which is a cool experience, and I loved doing that video, so feel free to check it out. But I think in the last year or so, to look at it, I would say wanting to read historical fiction and subsequently literary fiction, and then also really trying out horror and being really attached to it and wanting to like learn more about that, and then also kind of a subset of mystery and thriller and finding, I don't know, the psychology and things. I think it's weird that I'm gravitating more to the real world than I ever have. I don't know. It's an interesting thought of that. I'll just explore my own psyche a little bit more. So, number 7, we are a couple months into the year. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. I read 41 books so far, and my reading challenge was 120. I picked about 10 books a month, which is more than I normally do, and we're already 9 days into April, and I read 40 books, so I'm done for this month technically. So I'm doing pretty good. I'm definitely doing different than I am. I'm not reading as many SFF books than I thought I was doing, but that's okay. Being able to grow and develop and be fluid with your expectations, I think, is really important, and I do really need to make a video going over my goals and wrapping up the first quarter. But number 8, any plans that you're really excited for the next season? I'm really excited. I have decided that I am going to do something related to Canadian reads. There's a video coming out, but I was pretty disparaged about the idea of how many Canadian books I've read, and just, I don't know. It's a hard thing to say as a Canadian because we are prominent on the world stage, but not in the literary stage or even the media stage. So I kind of want to discuss that and discuss the fact about Canadian reads, and I'm excited. And I'm also really excited to go back and read some classics. I'm also really excited I'm working on another project that has to do with mental health, so I'm excited to dive into some mental health classics. And I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited to be reading books that I haven't read before and to explore them and analyze them and all of that. Anyways, thank you for joining me on this video. Thank you for listening to me ramble. And if you want to listen to me ramble more, especially follow me on Instagram and Twitter and Goodreads. I try to write really good and long analyzing Goodreads things. I try to be active on Twitter, and I use Instagram to try to write fake pictures. And my stories are pretty active with me talking about the books I'm reading at the time. So hopefully I'll see you there. Happy reading and writing and creating, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.